Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Cold Hard Truth podcast. I'm Jack Smith.
I'm Shrikara Gendran.
And I'm Manish Gupta.
Oh, it was a kind of a terrible week this week. It was just not a very fun NFL week to watch. You know, a lot more losers than winners, but this is our winners and losers episode for NFL Week 3. We'll get into the losers later. Tough ones. But man, our first winner is the Patriots' ability to switch things up. We've seen Cam slice open the Seahawks defense last week. I wasn't able to get a win out of that one, but showed he can throw it over any defense. And this week they ran for 250 yards on the Raiders in a kind of dominating performance. So the Patriots are able to or have shown us they are able to do it on both sides of the offensive side of the ball, running it and passing it. What do you guys think of them this week?
And yeah, this win really just speaks to, the amount of talent that the Pats have on this roster, because Cam Newton, compared to the first two games, I'd say he had an off day. He didn't have terrible numbers, but like when you compare it to what he did in Seattle, it just doesn't look as good. But he didn't play like super bad. But I don't think we can all agree that the entire Patriots backfield pretty much picked him up. And Sony Michel, I think, was the leading rusher. Rex Burkhead had 3 touchdowns, so he had a good game too. J.J. Taylor was the number one option. He got 43 yards on 11 carries. And then Damian Harris is going to be activated off IR. So Bill Belichick is going to have some decisions to make before week 4. I'll say that. But overall, I think it's a great win for the Pats. They were kind of conservative in that first half, and I think Newton's going to bounce back from this performance and have a better game. But look, this team, it's just built to win by controlling the tempo. If you can run the football and you can pick and choose when to use Newton to your advantage, I think Sunday's win over the Raiders really just proved that.
So, I don't think this was a really good day for Jack, and I'm all here for it.
It was a horrible day for Jack.
So, who would have thought that the Patriots would still be able to do well? And you know what? Every time they do well, I'm going to say it, because the Patriots looked really good today on defense and on offense. People were thinking maybe a trap game for the Raiders coming in. I know how Shrikar likes to say it, trap game. A lot of people picked the Raiders to cover the spread. I was one of the people who did not. And the Patriots, again, just went in route and played really well. And we see that they can do it in so many different ways. And it's crazy because people are always skeptical about their young players on defense. But they always do well. I mean, you guys saw Vinovich in week 2, right? And I saw him make a couple plays this today. Sony Michel on 7 carries, 119 yards. Like, dude, come on, man. I mean, this is insane. This is all without David Andrews, too. That's great. Or like he was banged up, with his hands. So I think that was really a really good win. This Patriots team, man, I think they're really competing for a wild card spot. They're in a good position right now. And it just goes to show why Bill Belichick, like I've always said, I can't bet against him. One of the greatest coaches to ever live. Yeah, I think he is.
I mean, in all sports too, but I mean, we talked over the offseason. I think I mentioned that the Patriots just have role players. They draft guys and they bring in guys to do one thing and one thing only, and it works out for them. And they just fill their roster full of guys. They have one job, and they do those jobs. And I mean, they ran for 250 yards. A couple of those running backs, really nobodies. And you just see they put in guys in positions and they execute. They're the best executing team in the league, and they do it year in, year out. Mm-hmm. And the Raiders came in and they almost dominated the Saints. It was a little bit close, but they played very well against the Saints, and this Patriots team just shut that down. This defense is still insane. I remember for the little bit I watched of that game, they said that last year the Patriots defense only gave up 4 passing touchdowns to wide receivers in the entire season.
But they already have like a certain amount. I think they already have 5 or something.
Yeah, but I mean, their dominance last year was crazy, and it's. I don't think they're as dominant as they were last year. Their start last year was ridiculous, but they're gonna play Patriot football. They're gonna play well on defense, and they're gonna have role players to get their jobs done. And they've shown a little bit like the Ravens that they can pass on you for a lot, or they can run on you for a lot. And I think that's a little bit dangerous for them.
Yep.
But our next winner is the Titans' close game pedigree. Titans have played 3 games this year, and they've won close in all 3 games. And after Steven Gostkowski almost cost them the game against the Broncos, he comes in and nails 6 kicks this week. What do you guys think of the Titans' performance today against the Vikings?
And that's the guy I was going to shout out right now, Steven Gostkowski, because Gostkowski. I don't know how to pronounce names, but look, he answered. he was incredible today. 6 for 6 on field goals, 3 for 3 on 50-plus yarders, including that 55-yarder that really won them the game. This is why a veteran kicker is important. And, Greg Joseph was the primary kicker heading into the season. That's why a lot of Titans fans
Don't
are really
remind me about
nervous
that, dude.
And look, I think we can all say, I don't think Greg Joseph, Cairo Santos, Cody Parkey, I don't think either of those three could have replicated this performance today. And it was really easy to be kind of down on him after what happened in week 1 against the Broncos. But I say Gostkowski more than redeemed himself to this point. And to Vrabel's credit, he really never lost faith in Gostkowski. And that shows how good of a coach he is. And he always seemed sure that he'd figure it out. And 2 weeks later, the Titans are 3-0, thanks in large part to Steven Gostkowski. And last season, I think the Titans were really scared to settle for field goals. And this season, it really seems like Vrabel has full confidence in his kicker. And I hate talking about kickers for this much because I know you guys are getting bored. So I'll close it off here. But shout out to Steven Gostkowski, man.
I think it just goes to show how football is a game of 3 facets, not just 2. It's more than offense and it's more than defense. The special teams does have a key part. And we just talked about the Patriots, right? They win a lot of battles in special teams too. And we saw that with the Titans. That's why they're 3-0 today. Gostkowski had a terrible game week 1, but he finished it off with a game winner. And I think that kept his confidence going into weeks 2 and 3. In week 3, he had a real good performance. But going back to the close game, because I did watch a little bit of it, this Titans team, it just goes to show why I put them in that tier 2 for the AFC, a little bit above them and the Bills. It's just because I believe in Tannehill, and I don't know why people, were harping on me so much for it. All the Niner fans got really mad when I said he was better than Jimmy Garoppolo. I just think Tannehill for me is, he showed me a lot of stuff in Miami that people didn't see. I just thought he's got the intangibles for a quarterback in my eyes. He's a good leader, and we've seen it right now. I think he is very poised, and he's looking very poised in the pocket. He's looked really good so far. This Titans team in general just looks like a very well-rounded and experienced team, which is a really good sign. And while their secondary did have some leaks, especially to Justin Jefferson, I thought, they played pretty well down the stretch, and they made the plays needed to win this game. And I think it just goes to show why I think there's a clear gap between the best team in the AFC South and the other 3.
Yeah, the Colts did have a dominating performance. We'll get to that a little bit later. But, the Titans have won 3 close games, and I think that's a real testament to their coaching, too. The style of football they play, they're obviously not going to blow a lot of teams out by surgically running the ball and stuff, but their coaching is impeccable. And Mike Vrabel deserves a lot of credit for being able to come out of these 3 weeks with 3 wins. And so a lot of credit to those guys. But is this sustainable, you guys think, over an entire year? Are they going to be able to win these close games every time?
I don't think they'll be in that situation, but we saw with Seattle. Seattle won like 12 out of not 12. I think 12 games.
It's like every game is a close game for Seattle last year.
Sorry, 10 out of 11 wins were, I think, under 7 points. So
we'll
see. I don't think they do something like that. I don't think they'll get in that many close games just because I think it's Tennessee. But yeah, I think they can do it for a certain amount of time, but not to the extent of what Seattle did last year.
Yeah, and then we'll hop down the list, skip over, one to get to the last one. The other winner from this game was the Minnesota offense, led by Justin Jefferson. They lost the game, but they were a true winner, showing that they bounced back after that terrible performance against the Colts on offense, and they put up 30 points against a good Titans defense, and Justin Jefferson led the way. Absolutely dominant performance. Glad that he's showing what I thought he could do. Hopefully he can keep it up in the future. But, Minnesota figured it out, and do you guys think they can sustain this and keep this going?
Anish, I'll let you start.
Dude, the team's 0-3. I like, as much as I want to say that they can, what do you do here? Like, is Kirk Cousins still the quarterback that you want to roll with?
Because Danielle Hunter's not coming back for week 4. He's not expected to.
You're 1 game away from the NFC Championship, right? Just a year ago. What can you win with this core? I don't know. You just gave big dollars to Dalvin Cook, right? And you're kind of in a cap hold still, even with Kirk Cousins and Dalvin Cook. I don't know if Adam Thielen has big money. I'd have to check on that. But you might have to pay him coming up. So there's a lot of uncertainty with this team. I don't think this team can get that much better without doing a little bit of a reset. Really do. I think that's what I took away from this Vikings team. Justin Jefferson was great. He's a great rebuilding piece. But I mean, at 0-3, right? Especially in a division that's looked really good with 2 3-0 teams. What's the deal here? I don't know. That's what I would really say about Minnesota, because while Justin Jefferson was a winner today, I think the Vikings were still losers.
Yeah, and I think Justin Jefferson was behind Olabisi Johnson on the Vikings depth chart for to start the year, but really that shouldn't be the case for the rest of the season. He just had a great game, a lot of versatility. He could catch short passes, he can get deep throws, he can get some good yak yards, and it really didn't take long for him to contribute immediately. And I think anyone who's playing fantasy football right now, you got to look for him in the waivers. But I think watching him produce is just a great sign for Vikings fans, because these past few weeks we saw Kirk Cousins just keying in on Adam Thielen with most of his throws, and I think defenses just took note of that. So now that you have Justin Jefferson in the mix, that's going to add just another level to your offense. So I'm very impressed by Justin Jefferson. He had a game. I'm interested to see where the Vikings go from here, because if you drop week 4, then I'd say that you just don't make the playoffs. I just don't see it happening. We've seen it happen before, where you can make these big runs to kind of sneak in as a wild card. But look, the Vikings, especially with Hunter not coming back for week 4, I agree with Anish. Justin Jefferson is my winner, but the Vikings overall are a loser.
Yeah, I agree with you there. And I mean, I think a lot of us, or all three of us, were not super high on the Vikings going into this year, citing, their roster turnover, especially on defense. So we're seeing that kind of come into fruition, that this team lost a lot of pieces, and they lost a lot of key pieces on defense. And when that happens, when there's a lot of roster turnover, you're not good to start out the year, and you might not be good for most of the year. So yes, they may be good in the future, and they may have pieces there, but it takes a lot to gel together, and it's just not happening for Minnesota. But it's good to see them put up points on offense after that brutal performance last week. So yes, their offense was a winner this week against Tennessee, but overall this weekend for the season so far, they are a loser.
Mm-hmm.
But our final winner of the week, like we said, there weren't a ton of winners overall on NFL Sunday for week 3. The Cardinals bend don't break defense. They allowed over 400 yards, including over 300.
Panthers bend or break.
Panthers. What did I say?
Cardinals.
Yeah, no, not the Cardinals. They were not a winner this week.
Definitely
The
not the
Panthers
Cardinals.
bend don't break defense. They allowed over 400 yards this week, including 300 to Justin Herbert, but only 16 points, and they got the win without their star player, Christian McCaffrey. And so that defense, who we said is super young, they showed up in this game, which I think it could be a theme throughout the year.
And one guy I want to shout out here.
Yeah, go
Anish,
ahead.
you want to start? All right. Well, one guy I wanted to shout out, Brian Burns. Brian Burns is who I wanted to shout out for the Panthers. They moved him to an outside linebacker, I'm pretty sure, and they even drop him into coverage sometimes. And I think that really suits him. He really got back to doing what he does best, and that's getting after the quarterback, making game-changing plays. In the first half, he had a forced fumble. That was his first sack of the season. And really just looking at the highlights for this game, I think he has a very bright future. He's got plenty more on the way for those forced fumbles. I think he's been one of the bright sparks on defense during the season. He's been much better stopping the run. He got pressure occasionally. I think just the Chargers had no answer for Burns, and he's really just taking the responsibility of being the Panthers' number 1 pass rushing option seriously. And I think his performance against the Chargers reflected this. So I'm very proud of Brian Burns. That's one guy I wanted to shout out here.
So, who had the Panthers going 2-14 or 1-15?
I didn't have him 1-15.
No, 2-14 though. But you initially had him 1-15, and I know Jack wasn't high on him either.
No, I
told
didn't.
you this defense.
No, I didn't
young.
have him 1-15.
You had him 2-14. Same thing, Shrikar. You were wrong. This Panthers team, this defense was young. I told you about it. I told you they have potential, right? I was right about that.
No one denied their potential, but we were just saying, they are a young defense
going into this year.
The first 2 weeks.
But I was telling, you can see how they play. I watched.
No. We specifically said that they would be good going into the future. We just didn't think this year was their year.
And they're still not going to do this every week. The first 2 weeks,
they're not going
horrendous.
to. But when the plays mattered, when it mattered most, again, I say it all the time. But
1 week.
It is 1 week. I never said this Panthers team was making the playoffs or anything like that. But I told you guys I don't think they're going 2-14 or anything bad. Like I think you had them 4-12, Jack.
Yep.
Something around those. Yeah. So I don't think this team is that bad. And they showed it to me with me today. I think Bridgewater's able to get the ball downfield. I thought that was also an underrated aspect that I know DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson didn't have as good of a game, but Mike Davis did pretty well too. And I think even without CMC, it just goes to show, as unfortunate as it is, and as much as I love Christian McCaffrey, running backs are one of the least important positions on the field. And I hate saying that, especially with a guy like Christian McCaffrey. It's just how it is. And this Panthers team played pretty well. It was a low-scoring game. They made the plays when necessary, and that's why I thought this team could be a very underrated team. Maybe a play spoiler toward the end of the year, a 6-10 type of team, maybe even 7-9. And that's what I was expecting from them, a type of grit and grind, young, getting after the quarterback type of thing. And you were right, Shrikar. Brian Burns had a really good game, and he was one of my breakout players coming into the year, or even doing better than what he did his rookie year. But yeah, basically what I wanted to say about that. I think they were pretty big winners here. Not to the extent of the whole year. I just don't think this team can sustain that, as Jack just said. But this was definitely something to look forward to.
Yeah, I mean, teams with potential, they always have those, couple games where it shows and it gives you hope for the future. I mean, this Panthers defense is going to be one of the bottom in the league for most of the year, but they're going to have games where it gels together. And it happened this week. They did bend a lot. They did allow a lot of yards to the Chargers, but 16 points. If you only allow 16 points in a game, there's a good chance you're going to win. So it's good to see this young defense do that. But, I hate to do this. We're switching over to the loser segment.
Yep, here we go.
First loser is my boy Sam Darnold's label as not the problem for the Jets. I mean, the first two weeks, Jets play terribly. Everyone blames it on Adam Gase. There's some blame that goes to Darnold. I'm one of the people saying, Darnold isn't the problem. Look what's happening. Look, he's got no receivers. He's, O-line's still playing terribly. Le'Veon Bell's out. Play calling's terrible. This week, he was the problem. And you're hearing that from me, the biggest Sam Darnold fan that you will hear on a podcast. 3 interceptions and 7 points. He threw as many points to the other team as he did for his own team. And look,
he threw more. He gave them more points than he did his own team.
No, the exact same amount. The exact same amount.
No, I thought it was 2 pick sixes.
It's
right?
2 pick sixes.
2 pick sixes. You're right.
So 14-7.
Yeah. So no, I mean, I'm the biggest Sam Darnold fan you're going to hear from on a podcast. This was a terrible week, and I kind of want to dive into kind of what has led to this. Is Sam Darnold was a raw prospect. Everyone knew he was a raw prospect. He only had kind of 1.5 years in college, and he had some bad habits and some turnover tendencies. But what was there, and the potential there was tremendous. And you see what happens with those prospects when they go to teams that have a good situation, a good coach, a good offensive line, good receivers, and you give them a little bit of time to learn. You bring out that prospect under the rough. Sam Darnold went to a team that was not in the market for a raw prospect. They needed someone to come in that could work, with a bad coach, with a bad offensive line, and come in and start week 1. Sam Darnold was not the prospect for them. Sam Darnold was a raw prospect that had to come in, play week 1 with, coach who ended up getting fired, and now he's on his second coach who's about to get fired. And because of that, he really just hasn't been able to progress. And that's on him. That is on him. He has not been able to fix his issues, but he was also set up to fail. The Jets were not in the market for a raw prospect, but they did take him, and he has not been able to play well or progress. And that is on him. The Jets should not have taken him, I don't think. They should have taken him, obviously. You cannot pass up on a quarterback when you were them, but they weren't ready. They weren't ready to bring in a young quarterback, especially a raw prospect. And look, it's his fault that he hasn't been able to progress. He was set up to fail, but you're in the NFL. You've got to play well, and you've got to progress. He did not have that. He has not been able to progress. And look, I don't think he can. Like, it's probably too late. This Jets team is worse than it was when he was drafted. It might have a worse coach. It's got a harder schedule. Look, they're going to be drafting in the top 5, most likely. They're taking a quarterback. I mean, look, this is the worst thing I've ever had to admit. Sam Darnold is not going to be able to get it done on the New York Jets. It's just not going to happen. He was set up to fail, but also he just hasn't been able to progress. And these two are the most shocked people in the world right now. I have never talked this bad about Sam Darnold, and I never thought I would have to. But
never.
Look,
man.
It seemed inevitable from the moment he was drafted. This Jets team has ruined a good prospect in Sam Darnold, but also he just hasn't been able to progress through it. So you guys tee off on me all you want, but that's my thought.
Anish, go ahead.
It to me. You're giving me the floor. I can't stop smiling. You guys don't understand all the hours, the amount of days, the months, the amount of years. It's been years where I've told this man that Sam Darnold is not the right fit for the New York Jets, that Sam Darnold is not better than Josh Allen. He is not better than Jared Goff, okay? He is not better than Derek Carr. I have said this time and time
Never
again.
once said he's better than Derek Carr. I didn't say he's better than Derek Carr.
I finally got him to basically, surrender. I've finally done it. I have finally won the war. There's been so much. Oh, but he went 7-6. Oh, but he beat the Cowboys off mono, even though he, did decent. But okay, oh my God, he beat the Cowboys. Oh my God, he threw it to Braxton Berrios in garbage time. Oh my God, he beat the Colts that one year in his rookie year. Oh my God, he scores 48 on the Detroit Lions. Oh my goodness, I have told him time and time again that Sam Darnold is not ready for the NFL. He is not going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. I've told him this. Oh, and he's not better than Baker Mayfield. I have been right. Finally, I have gotten him to admit it. I have finally won this battle. Basically, this war, it's been going back and forth. Can you believe I've had to argue Jared Goff versus Sam Darnold? Can you guys just please, in the comments or anywhere, just feel for me. I had to spend an hour and a half of my time arguing with this man, Jared Goff, over Sam Darnold. I had to spend days arguing Josh Allen over Sam Darnold. I had to spend so much time with this. Oh my God. And to hear that, I cannot stop smiling. This is great. Sam Darnold played terrible. He was terrible. And you know what? You can hate on me for Carson Wentz all you want. But Sam Darnold has had no games over 215 passing yards, no games over 1 touchdown, and he has a higher interception to touchdown ratio than a touchdown to interception ratio. So that is terrible. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear anything about his bad team, because apparently I was under the impression from Jack that Sam Darnold is a very good quarterback, and he has been able to basically uplift his team, right? If he's a very good quarterback. And I was also under the impression that, Sam Darnold, if it was Patrick Mahomes making that play, everyone would go crazy, right?
That's still true. That's still true.
That's true, but also
you're trying to say right there it wasn't true. So I mean,
no. I'm just saying that Jack has been hyping this man up way too much, and I've finally gotten him to admit it. I told this man that the Jets were going 2-14. I told this man that Sam Darnold would not start next year in the NFL. I'm looking pretty good on that take so far. And dude, this is awesome. This was a great day. Think about it this way. He scored for the Colts more points than he did for his own team. That is just pathetic. That is just sad. That is just so sad. I mean, I don't even know what to say. I mean, it's I feel bad. I will give him this. I do feel bad. I think he could have done better in another system. I will give him that. And that touchdown throw he made was pretty nice. I saw it. It was a pretty good throw. But again, this is great. I mean, you get labeled as not the problem. And it's, what's even funnier? Jack is a Jets fan. He's a Jets fan. There are millions, or not millions. Okay, there are thousands of Jets fans, right? I find it funny how they always blame their team rather than their quarterback. What? Aren't you a Jets fan? Aren't you supposed to say this team, including the quarterback, is bad? Don't you want to do better? I'm sorry, but Sam Darnold is not a winner. I have told Jack, I don't know why he thinks Sam Darnold is a winner for going 7-6 against.
What I'm arguing is
7-6 against garbage teams.
What I'm arguing is look at the team without him, look at the team with him. He totally uplifts the team. Obviously, games like this, he doesn't.
To a winning standard. Standard is 9-7.
There aren't very many quarterbacks that could go with this roster and uplift him to a winning record. We don't know
that. I can't say that for sure. I can't. We're going off of what we have seen, and what we have seen is Sam Darnold not go over 215 yards all season.
Unbiased 9-7.
You know what's crazy too? He's down in games, right? So he's supposed to throw more.
They don't do it. I'm just telling you, there's things that have happened where, Gase doesn't call passes or he only calls flats. But look, there have been total huge problems around Darnold his entire career. But eventually there's got to be a point where he comes out of it. He just didn't do that.
Yeah, I'm tired of him getting a pass every time. No, there has never been – I've never seen Darnold get the hate that Baker does, or Josh Allen, or when he lost the playoff game. I've never seen that, and no, the media never does it. Tell me
That's
I'm
not
wrong.
true. The Patriots
He
game
just
last
doesn't
year.
get talked about enough, but still, no, really, I've never.
It's because he's a media darling. That's the problem. He does everything right on a personal level, on being a leader level. It just hasn't come out on the field.
Because
he says it,
but how is it where if he has a game where he throws 4 picks against the Patriots in prime time, how come I didn't hear much about it? I really didn't.
because
guys like Colin Cowherd would literally sucker up to this dude. How's his take on Sam Darnold right now?
How's your take on Carson Wentz right now?
Not pretty good, but notice how he hasn't talked about Sam Darnold at all. Funny. So you know what? I think we should move on just to save Jack a little bit because
I admitted a lot in this one, and I surrendered a lot. I'm not giving up on Sam Darnold. I'm not giving up on him yet. He's still one of the youngest quarterbacks in the NFL. He's younger than Joe Burrow. Keep that in mind. I'm not giving up on him yet. His career isn't over. He's not a bust yet. It's starting to look like maybe it's not going to work on the Jets.
Can we just make you please? Is he better than Jared Goff?
No, he's not better than Jared Goff.
Thank you. Is he better than Josh Allen?
Not right now. No,
not right now.
No, the last couple of years, he had better years.
Oh my God.
He had better pass years than Josh Allen. No one expected this huge leap from Josh Allen. Josh
Allen.
Allen.
I see what you mean.
No, you did not expect this. You did not expect this.
Sleeper MVP. I had him in the sleep. I had him. I said if he has insane stats in 12-4, he's my sleeper MVP.
You say if he has insane stats, you can say that for anybody.
Who? Sam Darnold?
No, but I'm saying, okay, look.
I expected Josh Allen to take a leap. You can go check the tape. But besides the point, he's not better than Josh Allen. And is he better than Baker Mayfield?
No, not right now.
Thank you. That is
what I need to hear. I'm not giving up.
On. No, I want.
At least you heard me admit it. At least you heard me admit it.
I want to move on. He's finally admitted. Wait, and you lost the battle. Right now. Between me and you on Sam Darnold.
So far.
Yes, thank you. Okay, let's move on. To another loser who potentially could have gotten his career ended here, Mitch Trubisky. I was one of those guys who thought he should have started week 1. I think Jack was with me on that too, but I said that I thought he could take this team to initially a good record, which is what he did, 2-0. I thought he would last a little bit longer. I was wrong on that. I did not expect a week 3 benching. That was very shocking. He didn't play that bad. He didn't play, where he was throwing 5 picks or anything like that. But he wasn't playing good. And Foles does it again. Is it just? Do you just have to have him as a backup in order for him to do well? Because when he was a starter, he was absolute trash with Jacksonville and with Kansas City and with LA. So I don't know, because he comes back down 26-10. I think Atlanta. I mean. Bears win. I told you guys that this team would be good. Looking pretty good on that. I did pick the Falcons in our weekly picks, but I did change my pick as I saw the injury report in our weekly pick 'em with in this league that I'm in. But yeah, I did pick the Falcons initially. I didn't expect Nick Foles to come in and do this, but yeah, Mitch Trubisky. I don't know. Do you guys see him potentially getting another job in the NFL as a starter?
As a starter, it's really a tough call. I think he will get a job at some point, but look, it's no secret that Anish was high on Trubisky. I really hope Nick Foles can prove me wrong, but I don't think Nick Foles is going to last very long in this Bears kind of system.
What? Really?
I don't think so. I think it's just one of those things where I just don't think Foles is going to last the whole season. I think Trubisky might come back at some point. Okay. But I don't know however late that's going to be. Obviously, I can't tell. But I haven't been very high on Trubisky. I haven't been very high on the Bears this year. But
yeah,
it's evident. But you picked against them 3 times.
Haven't been very. You've been wrong on all three picks on them.
This one was brutal, dude. I mean, yes, Foles came in and threw 3 touchdowns, but this is on the Falcons. This is not on the Bears playing well. I don't think we're
switching it up to another loser.
Yeah, this is
it was on the Falcons.
Yes, our loser last week. So yes, Mitch Trubisky was a loser, but the Bears were a winner. I really think they were. But this game is on the Falcons. One of our losers last week was the Falcons. Just everything about their performance against the Cowboys. It's happened again. They blew a 16-point lead after last week blowing a 20-point lead. So the
Hey,
Cowboys,
Falcons fans. I think all three of us just want to say we send our condolences, man. Like
it's got to be tough.
What the
it's so
hell?
tough to be a Falcons fan, bro.
How many Falcons fans do you think over the last couple of weeks have just, they see their
Oh
team
my
go up and they
God.
leave the TV. They're like, let's go watch this game. Let's go watch this game. They come back and their team's down.
No, it's like I think they know that they're gonna blow the lead. It's like at this point,
let
they're
me
not
let me tell it to you this way. The Falcons led the Cowboys for 59 minutes
Yep.
and 59 seconds of that game.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they had the lead the entire game because
they had to lead the entire game until that
time,
last second field goal. Yeah.
Yeah, so technically
And it
they
was
had to lead the entire clock. And they lost the game.
And it was that big of a lead too. It's not like they were up by like 3 points the whole game. It was a low scoring game. They were crushing. They were, kicking the crap out of the Cowboys.
I don't know what to say. I've always been high on Dan Quinn. I can't defend this anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I can't. Falcons are a good team around. They have a lot of pieces around them. This is really a Trigar had them going to the playoffs. I mean, this is a team this is a team that, again, I told you, just didn't expect it to gel all together for a full year. Had them like 7-9, but not 0-3. I didn't have them 0-3. I think
Matt Ryan had never started 0-2.
Yeah,
his entire career.
It's crazy because they could.
I don't know what to say because they're in. No, but I will say this: their injury report. I don't know if you guys saw it.
It was
I might have showed it to you guys.
Yeah,
it was
horrid.
Oh my god! Like they had hella players in. Like Julio, I think they had Dion banged up. They had so many people out.
But that's routine for the Falcons. It seems like now. But
yeah,
the problem with the Falcons, they don't have a ton of young talent. They don't have a lot of pieces for the future either. Matt Ryan's only getting older.
Ridley?
Ridley? There's one. There's one.
Russell Gage didn't look bad. I don't know how old he is though.
I mean, name me a lot of teams have key pieces. We just talked about the Panthers got a lot of key young pieces on defense.
Jones for the Falcons.
He's getting older too. He's been in the league for a while. Julio Jones is getting older. Alex Mack is getting older. Matt Ryan's getting older.
Matt Ryan's already old.
Yeah, this team
Keanu
doesn't
Neal's
have a lot for the future.
Too, man. Yeah.
This team does not have a lot for the future, and they aren't particularly great at drafting recently.
Yeah, I mean, unless AJ Terrell can become a stud, but last time we saw him in a very important game, he didn't look good against
this Falcons team
LSU
could become
Tigers.
This Falcons team could become one of the bottom feeder teams for the next couple of years. Like once Matt Ryan's gone, I mean, they don't have a backup plan at quarterback right now. It's the Falcons could look very bad in a couple of years.
Yeah, I'm scared.
It's unfortunate.
It's not good. But our last loser is Kyler Murray's case for MVP. Kyler lit it up the first couple of weeks, and everyone thought this is the big second-year jump. He lost to Detroit this week, which is a lot of people's lock of the week. I mean, we really didn't question the game a whole lot. And he threw 3 picks in that game. One of 3 quarterbacks to throw 3 picks. We talked about Darnold, Haskins as well, and Murray. I mean, what happened? What happened to Kyler?
I think with Kyler Murray, it's just, again, I have a friend who's a huge Kyler fan. He did pick Kyler for MVP. And what I told him was his pocket presence. It's just not there yet. Again, that's why we had a whole debate on Kyler versus Josh Allen. And what I said was, I just don't know what Kyler is yet. I need to see more of it. And he looked good the first 2 weeks. And just today, you have to beat this team. Well, and there's no excuses. You're 2-0. You're playing an 0-2 Lions team that just got their confidence.
You got all the momentum going your way.
Yeah. This is a game where I know it was kind of going back and forth, but the Lions, I mean, how do you let this happen? Also, the Cardinals defense, I got to throw some shade on them too. I mean, you let Adrian Peterson, who's like 90 million years old, rush for 75 yards on you. Dude, AP just doesn't slow down. I don't know what to say.
Yeah. Frank Gore just
him and Frank Gore, man. Yeah.
Yeah, but again, I wouldn't say necessarily that his MVP case is completely shut down. I wouldn't say that, but the way Russell Wilson's playing, I mean, probably.
Russell Wilson, Josh Allen. We haven't seen Lamar play yet. We haven't seen Mahomes play yet this week.
Yeah. Also, Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers
looking good.
Yeah, Kyler, dude. He's a good quarterback, though. I think he's established himself in that board. I think I'd put him top 15.
He's definitely the franchise guy.
He's top 15 for me right now.
So I don't know if I would kick Wentz all the way out of my top 15 yet, and put Kyler in yet, but we'll see. I think Kyler's looked pretty good so far. I mean, it's 1 game out of 3. Let's see how they do. But yeah, as of for this week 3, they were definitely losers because a lot of people. I told my friend to put this one on the high on the confidence scale. This was a pretty easy pick that I thought all three of us were going to make.
This was a near lock for me.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of people, on Instagram saying this is their lock of the week, and I had no problem with it.
Crazy.
I mean, Detroit has looked like one of the worst teams. Arizona's like one of the best teams. And
so what do you guys think this is for Detroit, though? Do you just think this was a fluke game?
I feel like it was fluky.
They just won a game.
Okay.
It's the NFL. It's the NFL. So I mean, that's a lot of things we can't discount, especially in a crazy year like this. It's the NFL. Teams aren't terrible. I mean, teams play well, but NFL teams aren't bad. Yes, that's true.
And that's not me like discounting Detroit at all. Like, it was a good win, but I don't think they're going to
play spoiler at times. That's what I
don't think they're going to do this.
I had them like 5-11. I thought they would play.
Sure, they'll play spoiler a couple times, but they're not going to do this on a consistent basis.
Yeah, I mean, Stafford will win them some games, but it's like they're not a good team, and the Cardinals should have won this game. It's simple as that. They needed to clean up business in this game. And the NFC West, the Rams lost and the Cardinals lost, and the Niners won. So at least
this is the most competitive division in football, man.
I agree.
Crazy division.
It's been crazy, and the Seahawks, I believe, are they the only 3-0 team in the division?
Yeah,
you're right. So I mean, it was a rough week for the NFL. A lot of losers, not a lot of super exciting games, not a lot of great storylines or performances. And Sam Darnold played terribly. What a terrible week for the NFL. But
that was terrible for me. I thought it was fine.
Anish had the time of his life.
Wentz didn't technically
He didn't lose.
Josh Allen won them the game still, and the Browns won. Except my fantasy team, Chris Carson. Please, I hope you're okay, because
that was a brutal hit. That was
he twisted
so
his
unnecessary.
Whole knee, bro.
That was
unnecessary.
That should have been a fine. I thought that should have been a fine. But I imagine having Saquon and Chris Carson as your top two running backs in a fantasy league. That's me. So we'll see.
Well, that was our week 3 NFL Sunday winners and losers. We've got Chiefs Ravens tomorrow, so at least that's a bright spot. So make sure to go check out our Chiefs Ravens preview episode if you haven't watched it already, if you're watching before Monday Night Football. But have fun watching that game, and we'll see you guys next week for week 4 picks. Hopefully it's a better week than this week.
We'll see.
Brutal week. But thank you guys so much for watching this episode. Make sure to go check out our socials. We had a giveaway on our Instagram. These are our winners. Make sure to go follow them. That'll be their Twitter and Instagrams right here. But thank you guys so much for watching. Let's hope for a better week next week. But thank you guys.